Start with your large piece.
Okay, this is sewing the stool.
See,
Seat.
on the smaller portion of it. Oh, I guess we'll get this right. On this smaller half. Fold it in half. Very tiny little mark. You can identify the middle. You take your strap with, I don't know what this is, with the tapered side towards your seam with about a ½ inch past the little notch. You start your seam. Back stitch just a little bit. Stitch the two pieces together, keeping firm pressure on both pieces of fabric. Check to see that you are even. If it's offset, you put pressure to bring them together. So that those two marks meet in the middle. So now that your marks match, when you get to this point, you should have, get that out of the way, back stitch. You should have a fairly consistent amount from this point to this point. This should be somewhat in the middle. There will be a variance, but you want to overlap these two pieces and as close as you can have that to be in the middle of the two of them.
Okay.
The material stretches, so it is variable. Then you're going to do your top stitch. You fold them over, pull it tight, get it close to the edge of that fabric. Back stitch. Now you're going to top stitch. Keep your top stitch consistently at the same width away from your seam. Pull the two pieces apart to get a nice flat seam.
How wide?
Approximately 1/4 inch.
Oh.
1/4 inch. Okay.
It will vary.
Yeah. Try to keep it as straight as possible.
Straight as possible and consistent. If you start out a little wider, keep it that wide. You need it to go approximately halfway through your seam underneath to hold that seam down. You need to pull your two pieces of fabric apart at that seam to get it to lay nice and flat. Come back around. Nope. Match that seam. You're going to bring it so that your stitching is going to catch this and sew this together right here to here, just like on that side. Missed it by a stitch. Okay. So now you're going to match this to that side. Trim your threads close.
Can we see that? Okay.
So that it does that. Then you're going to trim the edges on the corners as close as you can without cutting your top stitching. And you are going to mark your center on the top part.
How do you know
No,
where
the-
center is?
This
Oh,
notch,
from your other notch.
from this notch here.
Oh, okay.
You-
And that's when you
you
cut out
measure.
the
So
fabric.
cut another
you
notch.
you
Yeah.
mark
Yeah.
that.
This is the original piece, this is the extra strip. Sometimes the strip will stretch and that mark will not be in the middle.
So you have to
So
adjust
you have
for
to
it.
adjust. So you
Cut another notch to make sure you're.
Yeah.
this notch is always in the middle because it's in the pattern, it's in your fabric.
Right.
That mark may not be the middle.
Okay.
So you
Alright.
adjust.
Because of the stretching and everything.
Yes, the
else.
material stretches quite a bit. This is your third piece to the project. Put it in right sides together. Open end down by this connection here. Fold this side under. Start it in the middle of your stitching.
Can you off center it?
Yep. It will always, it's always going to vary. Sometimes this is going to be a little wider, so on and so forth. That's why you start this piece in the middle of your stitches here.
Okay.
That way, even if it's not, that way it's always the same length around regardless of how much you have stretched it. Or not stretched it, depending upon. Approximately 1.5 inches to 2 inches of back stitching. Again, keep your seams even, consistent. Keeping pressure on both pieces. You don't want to pull too much on either one or you will stretch the fabric. When you get to there, you check, make sure that this notch matches that notch. Both are in the center.
Okay.
Get to this point, around that last corner, you see how close you are. It will never be it will always be variable. You want to get it as close to the same distance here as it is here. This side seems to be consistently a little more.
Okay. What's it called when you go back and forth?
Back stitch.
Back stitch.
Back stitch.
Good name for it.
Yeah. Being certain to keep your back stitch in the same line as your seam stitch.
Okay.
That way it does not show on this side. It's just one solid stitch.
Makes sense.
And then you turn it right side out. And that is it. Ta-da! One stool seat.
Wow.
It's only a little wobble, all things considered. It's really hard to do it slow.